When planning the road to success, there are a few steps to keep in mind. Identifying and solving the cause, facing and embracing change, goal setting, and being accountable. We'll talk about this today on Sustainable Success with Chris Salem. New and healthier habits lead to prosperity in all areas of your life and business. Now, here's your host, Chris Salem.
Welcome to Sustainable Success. Hope everybody's having a great week. Here we are in the month of November, and it's hard to believe that we are closing in on the end of 2025. Hope everyone's had a successful year. But as we get into 2026, again, all the possibilities are out there for you on an individual and on an organizational level. And if you require any assistance in helping for planning in terms of strategic goal setting with the right prioritization, feel free to contact us here at Sustainable Success Coaching and Consulting at chris@sustainablesuccess.net. We'd be more than happy to help you. And if you are new to our show, welcome. We want to welcome all new listeners that found us here on the Lisbon platform, as well as Spotify, Apple, and then also on YouTube. And in addition, we've been on Facebook as well since May of 2017. There, it's called Sustainable Success 2017. And there, and any of the different channels, you can listen to this show. We've been airing weekly shows, helping you and your business move to the next level. We've been doing that now for almost 8.5 years. Yes, it's hard to believe. And we want to thank you, loyal listeners, that have been with us since day one, since May of 2017. Yeah, 2017. Oh, my God, it's hard to believe. But in any event, we want to also welcome all you new listeners. Make sure to subscribe here at the Lisbon platform, Spotify, Apple, or YouTube, or whatever preference that you have. And also follow us again on our Facebook page at Sustainable Success 2017. Today's show is being brought to you today by Alumni Direct. Alumni Direct is a new social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together from all different generational types and an opportunity to meet new people for the first time. Now, it is a membership program taking out all the noise out of social media. You get to generate genuine and authentic relationships with the people you choose to interact with. If you'd like some more information about Alumni Direct, check them out at alumnidirect.com. That's alumnidirect.com. Well, we have a wonderful show for you today, a great story, an inspiring one. And if for any of you out there that might have gone through a situation like this, or maybe currently involved something similar, whether on a personal or professional level, well, you're in the right place when it comes to how we can pay off some debt that we never would imagine us been able to do, and in turn, how this has worked in our benefit moving forward. Well, we're here with our subject matter expert, Brent Kessler. We're going to be talking about the former chiropractor who cracked the code on paying off $1 million in debt in 39 months. Now, this was a successful chiropractor who owned 5 thriving clinics, but behind the scenes, he was nearly $1 million in debt. And he talks about a 200-year-old wealth strategy that you're going to learn today that many of the most successful people in the world had used to help pay off debt during their time, and what he was able to do in 39 months, and in this case, build wealth for himself. So a little information before we begin. I always like to give a little background about our guest. So again, Brent Kessler is a former chiropractor who unlocked a 200-year-old financial secret and cleared nearly $1 million in debt in 39 months. And after establishing and selling 5 successful chiropractor clinics in Kansas City, his true breakthrough came in 2006 when he found the same wealth building strategy once used by the families like the Rockefellers and the Morgans. And since then, he's dedicated himself now to not only how he helped himself, but also how he does this with other business leaders, whether if you're a solopreneur, a business owner, or whatever the walk of life you are, how you can tap into this wealth education that we are just not usually privy to. He is the founder of the Money Multiplier and spends his time touring the country. Literally, he's a licensed pilot with his own Pilatus PC-12, speaking at between 50 to 7 events annually. And he has a daughter, Hannah, and she became a millionaire by the age of 24 using these identical principles. I cannot wait to hear what Brent has to say. And without further ado, we welcome Brent Kessler to the show. Brent, how you doing today?
Well, hey, Christopher, doing fantastic. Glad to be with your audience today. And I think you pretty much summed everything up. So I think we're done. We can all go home, right?
Well, no, we know there's a lot of meat in there that we haven't gotten into that you're going to cover. And so, Brett, we always like to start off with, the backstory. So a little bit about the backstory about what you're going to be talking today about this money multiplier, this wealth multiplier, and how people can not only get out of debt, but also can now begin to build their wealth. Talk a little bit about your situation back then with that. Yeah, what was that feeling like being $1 million in debt? That's probably a very uncomfortable feeling. And then what you were able to tap into that helped you, and now how you're helping people today in similar situations.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, let's just go back. As you said, I was a chiropractor. Again, I still am a chiropractor. I just don't practice chiropractic anymore. I had 5 clinics in the Kansas City area. I actually sold my last clinic in 2017, but I myself have not been practicing in the chiropractic field since 2008. I had associate doctors that were in my office. Well, just to go back a little bit, I actually had went to a chiropractic conference back in 2006, and I heard this guy get up on stage and he talked about this thing, how to become your own banker, the infinite banking concept. And I thought that information that he was sharing was very, very powerful, but I thought it was too good to be true. I thought there had to be a catch. There's no way that this concept could work the way that he was explaining it, right? So I took all that information in at that conference in 2006 and I heard it. And I had gone home. I left that conference, went back to my normal chiropractic conference. And guess what, Christopher? I did nothing at all with that information that I just heard, right? Because I thought it was too good to be true. And I'm sure you and a lot of your community and your listeners have heard things like that before, where it looks good, sounds good, but anyway, there's got to be a catch. It just sounds.
There's got to be a catch. In reality, how could this be?
Yeah. So then I had just gone back after that conference in 2006, did nothing with the information that I learned. And then I went back to another chiropractic conference 2 years later in 2008. And then at this new conference, about 10 or 12 of my colleagues that were at the previous conference are now at this conference with me. Now, anyway, all of those guys just assumed that I was doing this concept that I first heard about 2 years earlier, but I wasn't. So they were coming up to me. They were ranting and raving. They were saying, Brent, isn't that banking concept the most powerful thing ever to build wealth, to keep wealth, to pay off debt, recapture, recycle money? Christopher, so they were throwing up all over me about this concept and how great it was for them, but I was not using it in my own life. So I thought to myself, look, there has to be something to this method, right? There's no way that 8, 10, 12 of my colleagues are lying to me, maybe 1 or 2, but not 8 or 10. So I came home and I told my wife in February of 2008, I said, honey, we have to start implementing this concept in our life, because it was at that time, February of 2008, I was $984,711 in debt. That's what I owed to the third-party creditors.
Wow. Now, that was during the time when the financial crash had happened as well.
It was. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, well, how do you even know the exact dollar amount that you were in debt? Well, that was part of the exercise. I had to grasp a hold of that. I had to know what that number was. And let me just tell you, that is a very painful thing to have to do. That's a very painful thing to have to look back, peel back the onion and say, what exactly is your debt load? What is your financial burden? So that was my number, 984 grand. And you're probably thinking, well, how does a guy from Kansas, because at the time I lived in Kansas, I now live in Florida, but at the time I lived in Kansas, and you're probably thinking, well, how does a guy from Kansas get to be almost $1 million in debt? Now, I know if you live in California or somewhere like New York City, that buys you a very, very small house. But in Kansas, Christopher, you can buy a lot of stuff for $1 million.
Oh, yes.
How did I have that debt? Well, I had the house that I lived in. I had my student loans from chiropractic college. I also had a house on the Lake of the Ozarks between St. Louis and Kansas City, and that's where I spend my summers. And obviously, Christopher, if you have a house on the lake, you have to have a boat and a wave runner, don't you? Yeah, man, you can't have a house on a lake without a boat and a wave runner. And as you mentioned earlier, I'm a pilot. So as a pilot, I had to have my own airplane. Now, back then, I didn't have a Pilatus. And I know you mentioned that I had a Pilatus. That's a $3.2 million airplane.
Those planes are not cheap.
Way more than what my debt was. Okay. Way more than what my debt was. And then too, I'll tell you, that's a $3.2 million airplane at a 25-year-old airplane. You buy those things new, they're $9 or $10 million now. But I did have a small airplane that I had paid $100,000 for back at that time. So I had all of this debt, right? I had all of this debt, and I applied this concept that I learned, the infinite banking concept, how to become your own banker. And I was able, Christopher, to pay that debt off in 39 months, 3 years and 3 months. And all I did is I added one simple step to my financial life. In other words, I never had to work any harder. I never had to change my cash flow. I never took any additional risk with my money, and I never lost control. I simply added one step in my financial life, and I was able to pay that debt off. And that was starting in 2008. Then what happened, fast forward a little bit, in 2012, I became so passionate about this concept. I mean, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. I started teaching it to other people. So in March of 2012, I started teaching this concept to other people. And now, as you said, I go to anywhere between 50 to 70 live events a year. I'm not doing as many the last couple years just because other people on my team are doing them and I just don't want to travel as much. But I still do 100 to 120 Zoom calls, webinars, podcasts, right? Events like we're doing here today. And so since that time, 2012 up to now, like you said, we're in November of 2025, so pretty close to 14 years now. I have over 17,000 clients in every state of the country that I work with. We're getting them anywhere between 200 to 220 new clients every single month that come aboard and want to learn how this concept works in their financial life. And that's what we do now. We just teach this concept. In other words, Christopher, the thing that we do is we teach people how to break the bonds of financial slavery they don't even realize they're in and take control of their own money and their own wealth. And they keep the money in the family. Now, the thing you mentioned in the introduction, and thank you so much for that introduction. That was probably one of the best introductions that I've ever received. It was really, really good, and you went into a lot of detail on it. So as you said, this concept is over 200 years old. So it's not on trial. It's not being tested. As a matter of fact, if you go out and research the wealthy people as far as over that time period. And I'm talking about people like the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Morgans, the Stanleys, the Barclays. If you go research how Walt Disney built Disneyland, how Ray Kroc funded McDonald's, how Pampered Chef got started before Warren Buffett purchased Pampered Chef, this is the concept that they use. So it's not on trial. It's not being tested. All I've done is I've taken the tools that the wealthy have used for over 200 years, and the thing I've done is I'm using them in my own life and now teaching others how to use them.
Wow, this is powerful, and we're looking forward to. I know we have about 3.5 minutes to our first break, and we can start getting into but. I guess let's maybe talk about if you're welcome to share that, what is that financial vehicle? What is it? Is it stocks, bonds? That a lot of people might assume what that might be, or is it something even better? Which I haven't. I know what you're going to say, but maybe some of the listeners are going, I don't know what that would be.
Absolutely. like I'm totally an open book to everything you want to ask, right? Everything I have, no secrets at all. Now, look, this concept, I didn't invent it, right? Obviously, it's been around for 200 years. But there's a guy that wrote a book called Becoming Your Own Banker. And this guy's name is R. Nelson Nash. Now, he was my mentor in this concept. Now, Nelson passed away 6.5 years ago in March of 2019 at age 87. This book right here, Christopher, totally changed my financial life. I'm going to recommend your community, wherever you buy books at, go out and find this book, Becoming Your
Own Banker. Got it. And it's in its 5th edition. Wow.
Add that to your wealth building library. Now, I wrote another book that I'm going to give to your viewers at the end of the show. I'm going to, it's called Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery. We'll talk about that later. You don't have to buy that book. I'm just going to send you the ebook. I'm going to send it to you. You download it. You have that book for free. But the concept, and I know just about before we go to break, because I'm going to tell you what that concept is. And when I tell you, a lot of the viewers are not going to come back after break, because guess what they're going to do? They're going to say, what? There's no way you can build wealth that way. They're going to think, I know everything there is to know about that vehicle, and there's no way you can build wealth that way. Well, let me tell you, you don't know everything there is to know about this concept, because if you did, you would be implementing it in your life. But are you ready? Here it comes. The machine, the vehicle that we are going to use to build, keep, and create wealth in our own family, pay off all of our debts, all of our expenses, recycle, recapture all the money that's been leaving our family for years. The product that we're going to use, Christopher, is a whole life insurance policy in a mutual company that pays dividends, that's designed for high immediate cash value. Now, I know I just lost half of
no, but I'm going to tell you, like I said, now people when they hear life insurance, it's like, oh yeah, I got to die in order to, for my family to benefit. How's that going to benefit me when I'm alive? Well, whole life is a lot different than term life. These newer concepts of life insurance over the last 20, 30 years. That's what I know you're going to talk about. And I want, absolutely, I know we got less than a minute before we go. We can go into it in the second segment, but just anything to wet their whistle to say, oh, God, I'm coming back for the second segment.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a presentation, a full presentation that you can view online by going to the website, themoneymultiplier.com. It's a 90+ minute presentation that breaks this down. But actually, right when we come back, how about if I could show you how to get all the money back for all the cars you're going to buy, drive, and own for the rest of your life? So not only do you get the car, but you get the money as well. So from now on, every time you buy a car and you give money to the car dealer, you now not only get the car, but you can also get the money back. And that's what I'm going to kind of explain a little bit when we come back.
Wow. Can't wait to hear this. So again, listeners, this is really going to be mind-blowing. Some of you may have heard this before, but maybe now you're going to hear it in a different context, what Brent's going to be sharing here. And it's definitely going to be something that you're going to want to reach out to Brent and start applying immediately. We got to go to break, everybody. When we come right back, we got more to come in this particular area, because this is an area that we definitely want to pay attention to. Again, we're talking about the former chiropractor who cracked the code on paying off $1 million in debt in 39 months. We'll be right back after the break.
What is balance? It's being true to your purpose and not being distracted by shiny objects, surrounding yourself with family and loved ones, nurturing your spirituality, maintaining healthy balance of emotional and physical wellness, and being present in the moment. Chris Salem creates awareness about unblocking mindset barriers for sales professionals, business leaders, entrepreneurs, and all types of people to have sustainable success at the next level. The solution evolves out of the problem or challenge. The issue is that many people and businesses manage the effect but do not address the root cause. You now have an opportunity to live your life and operate your business in the solution rather than the effect of your challenges. Schedule a time to chat about your goals and the person you desire to be by going to ChristopherSalem.com. We have group consulting calls, one-on-one, and other programs to assist you. It will be the best thing you do for yourself to see how sustainable success is possible for you in your life and business. Join us at the next level. Visit ChristopherSalem.com.
When it comes to business, you'll find the experts here. Voice America Business Network.
You are listening to Sustainable Success with Chris Salem. Send an email to Chris at ChristopherSalem.com. Now, back to Sustainable Success.
Welcome back to Sustainable Success. If you're just joining us, we're talking about the former chiropractor who cracked the code on paying off $1 million in debt in 39 months. And the little teaser before the end of the last segment, life insurance, not just regular life, whole life insurance. Yes, you're going to learn how whole life insurance, which has been used for many years, but something that mainstream media does not talk about. And a lot of times they don't want you to know about this. Well, you guess what? You have someone here, Brent, who has learned personally and how he helped pay off $1 million in debt in 39 months and build significant wealth to enjoy his time with his family, to enjoy the things he loves to do. He's a pilot and so on. So whatever you're going through right now or wherever you desire to be, this could be the answer because you're going to get the blueprint and how you could get your hands on Brent's book, ebook that he's going to be sharing here later. So Brent, if you could share with us, a little bit about this concept of whole life insurance as a financial vehicle, in this case, like your own bank, and how you can not only pay off debt, but how you can more importantly build wealth from it as what you teach as the money multiplier.
Yeah, absolutely. And, anyway, just to kind of go back on what you said, Christopher, this is not any type of life insurance, right? This is not the life insurance policy that you can go buy from your brother-in-law that sells life insurance. Yeah, we all have a brother-in-law that sells life insurance. It is not that type of policy. It's not a term policy. It's not a variable policy. It's not an IUL. It's not an index universal life. This is a specifically designed, specially engineered whole life policy in a mutual company. Very important, in a mutual company that is designed for high immediate cash value. Now, one more time, high immediate cash value. Here's what that means, Christopher. That means when you put money into this policy, you immediately, and anybody that knows me, and from here on out, anytime I say the word immediately, it means within 30 days. So immediately, aka 30 days. So in other words, immediately, okay, when you put money into this policy, you have that cash value to use to go out and buy anything that you want to buy. Your debts, your expenses, your investments, whatever it is that you're using money for, you now have access to this money to use to go out and buy all of those things. And if you add this one step, in other words, what is that one step? The one step is to pay yourself first. Now, I know a lot of your listeners have heard that pay yourself first, but nobody does it. Nobody pays themselves first because I don't even know the community that's on right now, but I know what you do with money. Here's what you do. Every time you get money in, it doesn't matter. It can be from your job. It can be passive income, investment income. It can be a birthday card or check in the mail from grandma for the birthday. And you take that money and you put it into somebody else's bank. The Bank of Florida, the Bank of Connecticut, the Bank of California, the Bank of Texas, Wells Fargo, US Bank, wherever you store money, you put the money in the bank, and guess what you do with that money? You pay everybody else first. You pay the car people, the house people, the student loans, the food, the travel, the entertainment, the taxes, the charitable giving, and you hope there's money left over for you. You have to stop that. You have to pay yourself first. And when you pay yourself first, in other words, put that money into the life insurance policy, not only is that money going to grow internally tax-free, it's going to grow internally tax-free. You have access to use that money immediately. Now, remember, this tool has been used by the wealthy for over 200 years. As a matter of fact, the number one purchasers of whole life insurance in the world is conventional banks. That's right. Conventional banks own more in whole life insurance than all of their land and their buildings combined. As a matter of fact, since 2014, just a little more than 10 years ago, conventional banks in that time span in the last 10 years, conventional banks have quadrupled the amount of money that they have purchased in whole life insurance. Now, they're not
using your money.
Yeah, absolutely right. They're not using a term. They're not using variable. They're not using universal. They're using these specially designed, specifically engineered, high cash value policies that you can use your money immediately. Now, if you don't believe me what I'm saying, don't believe me. Don't believe anything I'm saying. Go check all the information I'm giving you out. But I want you to go Google something called BOLI, B-O-L-I. It stands for bank-owned life insurance, and you will see how much life insurance these conventional banks actually own. So all we're doing, Christopher, all we're going to do is we're going to do what the wealthy have been doing for years. So there is a quote that I love. Now, I don't know when it first came out or when he first said it, but I heard it in October of 2008. And it was by a guy named Warren Buffett. And I would bet that a couple of your viewers have heard the name Warren Buffett in the past. So Warren Buffett said this, and I think about this quote every day of my life. He said, if poor people would just start doing what rich people do, they wouldn't be poor anymore. Now, how much sense does that make? So I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I didn't create this concept. Okay. Also, the guy that wrote this book, R. Nelson Nash, he didn't create the concept. It's been around for over 200 years. We're just going to use the tools that the wealthy have been using for all of these years. Now, let me give you an example. Money, okay? Let's just talk about money. We have to agree, at least for the next, 20, 30 minutes or whatever, what is money? What is the definition of money? And if I ask the audience what the definition of money is, I would get different answers. But all money is a means of exchange. That's all it is, a means of exchange. So that's our definition of money. In other words, we exchange products and services for money. We exchange food for money, car for money, money for food, money for car, house for money. Everything that you do with money, you're exchanging those products and services for money. Now, look, every time we buy something, Christopher, and I'm going to use the example of a car because most of us that are on this understand cars because I bet we all probably have bought a car or at least we've driven a car or ridden in a car. So we understand about a car. I'm going to make believe this is a $20,000 bill and you're in the market to buy a $20,000 car. Now, how do you go buy a car? I know the way every one of you buys a car. Even though I don't know you, I know how you buy a car. You buy a car one of three ways. You either pay cash for the car, you bank finance the car, or you lease the car, right? Because I know your viewers aren't like crooks or dishonest. Well, maybe a couple of them are a little shady.
There might be.
Of them, but most of them had to give the money to buy the car. So in other words, they take the money that they have, they give it to the car dealer, and the car dealer gives them the car. So, okay, the car dealer gets the money, we get the car, everybody's happy. We all go home happy, right? That's how we've been used to buying cars. But how about if there's a way, Christopher, we can add one step into our financial life, and not only do we get the car? So yes, we give the money to the car dealer. They give us the car. So they get the money. We get the car. But if we add one step, Christopher, we now can get all the money back that we just paid for the car. So we get the car and the money too. Would that be pretty cool if you could get the car and the money? And I go over that in great detail on my 90+ minute presentation on my website, themoneymultiplier.com. Just click Watch Brent Now. You can print out all of the examples and I show you how to get all the money back for every car that you and your family will buy for the rest of your life. Every car. And if I can do that with a $25,000 car, because that's the example I show, is a $25,000 car, do you think we could do it for a $2,500 computer, a $250 pair of shoes? What about a $250,000 house? Or, as you said, I'm an aviator, I love aviation. What about a $2.5 million airplane? Absolutely. It doesn't matter what it is. any product or service, Christopher, that you are spending money on, that you are giving someone else money for, you now not only get the product or service that you purchased, but you also get the money back, and it all stays in a closed system. It all stays in your family. There is no money being leaked out to other people. I want you to think about how crucial that is, because right now, every time you go out and buy something, it could be a house, a car, it could be a vacation, it could be a bag of groceries, a tank of gas, a pack of chewing gum. Whenever you give that money to someone else, the money is gone forever. It has left your family. When we add this one concept into our financial life, you now recycle and recapture and get every dollar back. The next point I'm going to go on this, and it'll just take 30 seconds, and then I'm going to
take your time. We got plenty of time.
So the concept that we're using, essentially what we're doing is we're turning every liability into an asset, every depreciating asset into an appreciating asset. Now, what does that mean? That means when we buy something, we're either buying assets that are depreciating, we're exchanging the money for services. The value of those things that we buy are usually going down most of the time, unless you're buying something that goes up. I mean, even a stock and a bond is not an asset, right? It's an investment because it can go down. Oh, stocks and bonds can go down. Well, let me just tell you, Christopher, I have no money in stocks or bonds. I have no 401k, no IRA, no qualified plan. No. I know that's what we're taught. We're taught to do that in our financial life. We're taught to go to school. We're taught to get a good education, to go out and work 30 or 40 years, and then the government will take care of it. We're taught to put our money to max our 401k, IRA, or qualified plans out, right? But that money is not guaranteed. That money that you're putting in there is not guaranteed. I want you to ask everybody, are there any guarantees with your 401k, IRA, or qualified plan? No. There is one guarantee. It's guaranteed to never go below zero. And how exciting would that be if that actually happened? But that's what we've been taught to do. Our parents taught us to do this. Our grandparents, our friends, our colleagues, our coworkers have taught us to do this. No. We need to pay ourselves first, and paying ourselves first is putting that money into the policy first. And when you do that, that money comes back to you. Now, there's a guy out there named Robert Kiyosaki, and he's famous for a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He wrote a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and he also wrote another book called Second Chance. And a lot of your viewers have probably heard of Robert Kiyosaki. And Robert Kiyosaki talks about in that book called Second Chance exactly the concept that I teach. Exactly what I teach. Robert Kiyosaki is talking to you about how to build wealth through this concept. There's another guy named Tony Robbins. Some of you have heard of Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins wrote a book called Money, Master the Game. In chapter 5.4 of Tony Robbins' book, Money, Master the Game, this is exactly the concept that I teach, is what Tony Robbins talks about. Now, those are both great authors. They're both great mentors. They both have it dialed in the world of finances and wealth building. But here's the problem with the two books when they talk about this concept. They make it very complicated and difficult to understand. And when you, the viewer, is going through it, and when you're looking at it and you're reading it, if you don't understand it, so whoever is reading the book is like me and extremely lazy, we just want to move on. That's what we do. We move on. We don't stop and understand what are they really talking about, and we just continue to go on, and we never understand the concept they're trying to share with us. So what I did is I just broke this down into a very simple to easy to use, a very easy third grade level to communicate to people how the concept works. And it doesn't matter where you're at in your financial life, whether you make $10 an hour or $10,000 an hour. It doesn't matter if you have massive flows of money rolling in or you're struggling to just hanging on to wait to your next paycheck, the concept works the same for everybody. The only way it's different is the amount of money that one person might decide to put in the concept compared to the other person may decide to put in a lower or a higher amount. But it works exactly the same, and it's very simple and easy to use. And there's absolutely, Christopher, no risk. There's no risk whatsoever. As a matter of fact, the only risk factor is you and how you use your policy. Nobody on this planet has ever lost money in a whole life policy in a mutual company that pays dividends. It's never happened. I'm going to challenge every viewer that's listening to go and find me who has ever lost money by using this concept. Now, you might find people that lost money in insurance, IULs, index policies, term insurance, but never, ever a whole life policy that is designed for cash value for you to be able to use immediately.
Wow. And what's great about it, like you said, it has a death benefit, but it's not, you don't have to wait for you to die in order, there's living benefits. You can borrow against the policy if required.
As a matter of fact, a good point on that is, and I talk about this in all my on-stage talks that I do, is essentially the thing that you're doing is you're buying this life insurance policy. Now, if you've noticed up to this point in our conversation, I haven't even talked about death benefit or even life insurance for that matter.
Yeah.
Because the thing because I'm not concerned about the death benefit. The death benefit is going to be what it is based on your age and your health and how much money you put in. I am solving your need for cash value. For cash.
Now, as you're alive, you can't enjoy it when you're dead, but you could, and your family could. But why not you?
As long as I solve your need, Christopher, for finance and cash, you'll have more death benefit than you can ever imagine. Now, when we come back from the next break, I am going to go into more detail, and I'm going to show you how you are going to live. You are going to live now by using a portion of your death benefit while you're living instead of waiting to die and everybody else gets that money. I'll talk to you about that after the next break.
All right. Wow. So I want to make sure that everybody, take some notes. If you have any questions, you're going to get Brent's contact information to reach out direct. You also could reach out to us and we'll connect you to Brent. So, got to hang in there for later on, towards the end of the show. Brent's going to give you his contact information. Again, folks, this is, this isn't just for certain types of people. This is available to all of us. We've just been led to believe that is the case, and that's not true. That's what the Matrix shit tells us. And, we either can conform to the Matrix or we can work away from it. And that's always your choice. And I'm so glad that Brent is here to share this valuable information. Well, we got to go to break, everybody. When we come right back, we have more to come here with, the former chiropractor who cracked the code on paying off $1 million in debt in 39 months. And we'll be right back after the break.
What is balance? It's being true to your purpose and not being distracted by shiny objects, surrounding yourself with family and loved ones, nurturing your spirituality, maintaining healthy balance of emotional and physical wellness, and being present in the moment. Chris Salem creates awareness about unblocking mindset barriers for sales professionals, business leaders, entrepreneurs, and all types of people to have sustainable success at the next level. The solution evolves out of the problem or challenge. The issue is that many people and businesses manage the effect but do not address the root cause. You now have an opportunity to live your life and operate your business in the solution rather than the effect of your challenges. Schedule a time to chat about your goals and the person you desire to be by going to ChristopherSalem.com. We have group consulting calls, one-on-one, and other programs to assist you. It will be the best thing you do for yourself to see how sustainable success is possible for you in your life and business. Join us at the next level. Visit ChristopherSalem.com. Voice America is on LinkedIn. Connect with us today. are listening to Sustainable Success with Chris Salem. Send an email to Chris at ChristopherSalem.com. Now, back to Sustainable Success.
Welcome back to Sustainable Success. If you're just joining us, we're talking about the former chiropractor who cracked the code on paying off $1 million in debt in 39 months. This is about something that has been around for 200 years. It's a wealth strategy that certain select wealthy families had used way back in the day, but that doesn't mean that you don't have that opportunity to tap into this, and that is whole life insurance. And a lot of times, a lot of people just assume what life insurance is, and they only know one part of it. There are many wonderful parts that Brent had shared here in the second segment and then also towards the end of the first segment. So we hope encourage you to listen to those segments if you are just joining in now. There's just valuable information, golden nuggets in there. So go ahead and listen to that again, and feel free to share this show with anybody that you care about, because this can make the difference in where they are and where they desire to be financially. Today's show, again, is being brought to you today by Alumni Direct. Alumni Direct is a social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together from all different generational types, and now features a section on their platform for professional athletes. Yes, for you professional athletes that are retiring and transitioning into everyday life, you don't have to do it alone. You now can form groups with other professionals, and how you could perhaps get into a new career, buy a business, a franchise, whatever that may be. You don't have to do it alone. You get to now work with other people, and that you could all help each other to make that process more seamless. It's called From Athletes to Entrepreneurs, and there's also a podcast on it, From Athletes to Entrepreneurs, headed up by the founder and CEO, Rob Finkelstein. Again, if you'd like to get some more information about that, if you are a former professional athlete, check that out at alumnidirect.com. That's alumnidirect.com. So, Brett, just really valuable insights here about whole life insurance, the cash value that we're talking about. I know you're going to get into some of the more of the details about it that oftentimes people just assume, speculate, and just may not know the truth about some of the things, especially the living benefits of whole life insurance.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, as we were talking, about the death benefit, I really haven't talked about death benefit, haven't really talked about the word life insurance. But how cool is it that when you have a life insurance policy, because all of these policies have a death benefit associated with them, right? That's the bingo, the bonanza, the cherry on the icing on the cake, right? But the thing that we're essentially doing, Christopher, is we are going to use a portion of our death benefit while we're living, right? Because as far as, so people think that, life insurance is going to be good for the next generation, the kids and the grandkids. No. Why not you use a portion of your death benefit while you're living instead of you having to leave all that money to your ungrateful children? No, I know y'all don't have all.
Well, nowadays there's a lot of that.
A couple of them may be ungrateful, right? That's what I tease my kids all the time, especially when my kids are in the audience and I'm speaking. Right. I said, don't leave the money to your ungrateful children. Use it. Well, see, here's what you're doing. Is you're using the money inside of the policy. Now, the way the policy works is that you can decide the amount of money that you want to put in it, not the death benefit, right? So like if you come to me and say, I want a death benefit of $1 million. No. I'm not asking you the amount of death benefit you want. I'm asking you how much cash do you want to put in the policy? And the amount of cash that you put in the policy will determine the amount of death benefit that you get depending on your age and your health. Now, look, I have people that put in as low as $80 a month into a policy, and I think our largest client puts in $540,000 a month. So you just pick a number in between there. There's no right and there's no wrong about how much you put in the policy. Now, our team at the Money Multiplier, we teach you how to use these policies to the maximum efficient level. But you never pay us a dime. Never, ever, ever. You don't pay me a dime. You don't pay our company, the Money Multiplier, a dime. I have 29 of these policies as we speak right now. I'm 58 years old. I started my first policy when I was 40. I was 40 years old. I just turned 58 last month. I have 29 of these policies. I buy at least one policy every 1 to 2 years. I have over 17,000 clients in every state of the country. 91% of my clients that have been with me a year or longer have more than one policy, meaning they come back and they get more. And the reason I'm telling you that, because if this concept did not work for people, why would 91% of them come back and get more? It just wouldn't happen, right? So the policy is up to you how much you put into it. Now, as far as the premium dollars that you put in, that is a payment. You pay into the policy. But in my mind, I like to think of it as a deposit and not a payment. It is a payment, but I like to think of it as a deposit because if it's going into an account that you control, Christopher, and you're able to use the cash value immediately, aka 30 days, is it treated more like a payment or a deposit? A deposit. And tell me what word you like better, payment or deposit? Deposit. And have you ever made too many deposits in your bank account? No, never.
Never.
No. So
like to do that every day.
Yeah. So now you put money into this policy and you determine how often you put it in and how much you want to put in. In other words, you can put it in monthly, quarterly, twice a year, annually. You can lower the amount you put in at any time you want. Now, most people do not lower their premium. And I say most, I almost want to say all people don't lower their premium. Here's what will cause you to lower the premium you're putting into one of these policies. You will lower the premium or even stop paying the premium if you run into a severe financial catastrophe or disaster and it happens in the first 24 months of you starting the policy. If it's past 24 months, you're not going to lower it. No, or stop it. No. Because the cash value growth is getting so big that you don't want to stop that growth. Because here's what you're doing. You're putting the money into the policy. When you put money into the policy, it's now in an internal tax-free growth rate environment. Tax-free. What is our largest eroder of wealth, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Our largest eroder of wealth is taxes. So how about if we get our money into a tax-free environment and the government is completely out of our hair? Would that be pretty cool? Oh, I forgot to tell you in the first segment, if you're a fan of big government and you want government to control your crap, then you're not going to like me. But I'm thinking you probably don't want that to happen. So how about if you put that money into this tax-free environment, it's growing tax-free, the government's out of your hair, and you have use of that money. Now, how are you going to have use of the money? You're going to take out what we call a policy loan. You're going to take out a policy loan, not a withdrawal, a policy loan. There's a big difference. Now, I go through that on my 90-plus minute presentation. I show you how you can borrow money at a higher rate than what you're earning and make money all day long. And I show you it on a 4% and a 6% example. You could do it on a 10 and a 20 also. But the reason that's important, and the reason it's important for you to understand how that works, and you'll see that on the calculators when you go watch my 90-minute presentation, when you borrow money, you're not borrowing money out of your policy. No. You're putting your policy up for collateral. You're taking a loan from the general fund of the insurance company. So what does that mean? That your money, all of your money that you have in the policy is growing and compounding. Even though you're using the money for everything you're doing right now in financial life, whatever it is you need money for, you're using it, but your whole block of money, your whole bank of money is still sitting in that policy because you did not take your money out of the policy. You borrowed it from the general fund of the insurance company. So your money continuously compounds and grows. Now, I do not know of another vehicle that has these features and benefits that allows you to do this. And I've been teaching this, as I said, since March of 2012. I first learned about it in 2006. I first became a client of this in 2008, in February of 2008. And every talk that I do, I ask people this. I say, I want you to go find another vehicle that has these features and benefits that allows you to build, keep, and create wealth better than what this does. Nobody's ever been able to show me, Christopher. If you have that magic bullet that I don't know about, please reach out to me and tell me what it is, and maybe I'll stop teaching this and start teaching what you teach me. Now, I want to go into another step because again, Christopher, I'm sorry I'm having an off day today. I'm usually more excited about this stuff.
You're excited, and that's good. That shows that you know it works, and that we want that excitement to spill over to our audience.
So, I know what the viewers are thinking because I thought it was a catch. It took me a year and a half, almost 2 years, a year and like 8 months before I started my policy after hearing about it the first time because I thought it was too good to be true. There's something they're not telling me. There's fees, charges, whatever. Well, let me be clear. The only money that you're ever going to pay one of these is the amount of money that you decide to put in your policy. It could be $50 a month. It could be $540,000 a month. Pick a number in between there. That is the only money you will ever pay. And you don't ever pay that to me or my company. You pay it to the insurance company that has this policy. Now, I write with a half a dozen different insurance companies in the United States. I can also write in Canada, but I have to refer you to a Canadian colleague because I am not licensed in Canada. But if you're in Canada listening to this, I have an answer for you. Just reach out to me and I'll hook you up with my Canadian colleague. But I am a licensed insurance agent in every state of the country. So you guys are thinking, well, how do you get paid, Brent? You're not doing this for free. No, I like to eat. My kids like to wear shoes. So you're right. I'm not doing this for free. But my mission is to give you the information and you to decide if it's for you. And if you do decide it's for you, there's lots of people you could go with and do this. But hopefully, since you heard it with me on the Christopher podcast, on the Christopher show, you'll do it with us at the Money Multiplier. But you don't have to. You don't have to do it with us. So how do I get paid? I get paid, Christopher, the same way your car insurance guy or gal gets paid. For example, if you go to John Smith, the Allstate agent, to buy car insurance, you do not write a check to John Smith. You write a check to Allstate, and Allstate pays John Smith a commission. Well, I get paid a commission on the policy that you write because we are your servicing agent. Now, why do you want me as your servicing agent and not your brother-in-law that sells life insurance? Because your brother-in-law that sells life insurance doesn't understand how to design one of these policies. And even if he tells you that he does after you listen to this and you go tell him what you just heard, he'll say, oh, I can design you one of those. Well, I would ask him this question. Why haven't you already shown me how to do this, brother-in-law? And if you really know how to do it, ask him these questions. Ask him, say, I want you to show me how you can borrow at a higher rate than what you're earning and make money all day long. He doesn't know the answer. Ask him how to show you how to get all the money back on all the cars you're going to buy, drive, and own for the rest of your life for you and your family. So not only do you get the car, but you get the money back. He doesn't know the answer. Ask him to show you how to pay off your debt. Just in my example, $984,000 in 39 months. When you go watch my presentation on themoneymultiplier.com under Watch Brent Now, I show you how a guy in the state of Minnesota, his family paid off $470,000 of debt in 61 months. So I practice this in my own life. So this is what I eat, live, and breathe. And I want you to go out and I want you to Google my name, Brent Kessler, with one S. I want you to Google the Money Multiplier. I want you to go on YouTube. I want you to look at the hundreds of testimonials, success stories, plan designs, case studies of all the people that we've helped. So don't take my word for it that this works. Go out and see what other people are doing.
This has been powerful information, really create this. You created curiosity, you've created awareness, a lot of valuable insights. I want to thank you personally for taking the time to be with our audience here today to share this valuable insight. How did you mentioned your website, but if you could share your contact information again, anything that you're up to and anything you like to offer the audience here.
Yeah, well, Christopher, thanks for having me. I know you have a choice of many, many guests, so I'm honored that you selected me as one of them, and I'm grateful to be on the show. But yeah, probably the easiest thing is go to our website, moneymultiplier.com, www.themoneymultiplier.com. Go out there and try to find that tab, Watch Brent Now. Watch Brent Now. Watch my full 90-plus minute presentation. My daughter also has a podcast, the Money Multiplier Podcast. She's got 137 plus episodes. She records one every week. She's 26 years old. She's also wrote a couple books, The Companion, The Single Millionaire Chick as well. So go check that out. We have 70 plus videos on our website. I am going to send every one of your viewers that want this book, Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery, that I wrote with a client who is now a colleague of mine, Chris Noggle. Him and I wrote that book, Mapping Out the Millionaire Mystery. Send me an email, Brent, B-R-E-N-T, Brent at themoneymultiplier.com, and I'm happy to share that book with you. And again, I'm just here to serve you. I'm here to serve you in your financial life. That's my mission.
Brent, thank you so much again, and everybody here at Sustainable Success for sharing that information with our audience today.
Thank you again for having me, Christopher. I appreciate it, and I hope to be able to serve your community in the future.
Absolutely. And again, we highly encourage everybody to reach out to Brent, take advantage of the ebook, reach out to his website, schedule a call with him. You got everything to gain in terms of insight and getting some more information customized to your situation. All of that will be in the show notes here on the Lisbon platform or on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or even Facebook at Sustainable Success 2017. We want to thank you, listeners, for joining us each and every week. Again, we are committed to bringing in subject matter experts like Brenton each and every week to help elevate you and your business to the next level. Again, feel free to reach out to us for anything that you may need for any specific goals or priorities that you're looking to accomplish in 2026. We are here at your call. Feel free to reach out to our team here at chris@sustainablesuccess.net. Till then, everybody, have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next Thursday, same time. Take care.
Thank you for tuning into Sustainable Success. Be sure to join Chris Salem and his guests every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Time and 3 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Business Channel. Have an incredible week.